So you Tiger King lovers, are you ready for your next fix? Don't worry, Netflix has your back. But this time it's a totally different story. And I'm here to review the new docu-series, The Tiger King, the Doc Antle Story. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. And today we're going to be reviewing the docuseries Tiger King, the Doc Antle Story, which is coming to Netflix October 10th. It has 3 parts. They're about close to an hour each. And as I said, this is a totally different story here. Now, let me kind of lay the foundation down here. So when the phenomenon of Tiger King came about, I didn't initially see it, but I remember seeing a lot of reaction to it, talk about, oh my God, it's so crazy, etc. And then beyond that, we saw it become a global phenomenon. So, it almost started to become like a running gag, merchandise everywhere, cosplays and Halloween costumes, all sorts of things are coming from out of that, as people either loved or hate the series. And, while that focused on one particular person who was in Joe Exotic, who was a exotic cat owner and zoo owner, whatever you want to call it, special attraction with these big cats, along with the Carole Baskin thing and whatnot. Well, this is about a person who appeared in the first season, because there is a season 2 out right now, but this takes things to a different turn in a different direction. Because I gotta say, when I watched season 1 of Tiger King, I thought it was comedic. I laughed. I definitely was like, this is absolutely, there was nothing serious about it. And although it was still a documentary and you learned a lot of information about it, which that's what documentaries should do, I really just had a good time with it, because I just thought it was completely hysterical to all degree. So when you see the name Tiger King branded by something, whatever it may be, you start to think that it's going to be with Joe Exotic. We know the type of person he was, and you start to think that it's going to be, although it's intertwined with a murder mystery with Carole Baskin's original husband and whatnot, and then Joe Exotic obviously being locked up, it still had a comedic tone to it, and it also had people torn between who they was aligned with. But yeah, with somebody else now being involved with the story, you start to think like, all right, well, is this just another player in the game? Is this another act and whatnot, another character, another gimmick, whatever you want to be? But as I said, this is totally different. Now, Doc Antle, who goes by Bhagavan, because he went through some changes in his religion, so he picked up a new name here, but for short, Doc. He was he still is a big cat owner, but this guy, there's no jokes here. This is serious, and he's really a scum of the earth, because this focused on this guy who not only became a big cat owner, but he had a very sinister styling of how he treated people. He was a predator. He was a pedophile, and the grooming, the abuse, all sorts of different things, and even he was kind of intertwined with a murder mystery in his own. But this guy was just a scum, one way, shape, or form. Like, I don't think you watch this and you have any type of moral dilemma as to if he's a bad guy, if he's not, or if he's a good guy, because you speak to the victims that he was groomed by. I mean, this guy was an adult or of age, dating minors, targeting minors, and even the adults that he even came into contact with, he even wanted to treat them like minors. He had a certain type, he had a fetish, and overall it just made him just a complete pedophile. I mean, I believe there was a victim that said they were 12 years old when they first met him, and he was asking for all types of sexual favors and all sorts of different things. So from the 3 parts of the documentary, the first part is speaking with the survivors of all the people that he encountered, whether he married them or all sorts of different things from his grooming. You spoke to some of his ex-employees, friends, and co-workers. I think the second part focused more on some of the longer relationships that he had, Still focusing on the grooming and whatnot. And then the third part of this focused on a friend of his who he also appeared in the first season of Tiger King, who had died, and just the odd behavior about somebody he was so close with, somebody he was basically there for him day in and day out, but when he died, he never showed any type of like he never gave any type of acknowledgement towards it. But he was also involved with drugs. He was involved with a ton of money issues and whatnot, and it felt like this murder had something to do with it. So scandal is also a part of this as well. But I think the best way to describe this person is that he was the Harvey Weinstein of the animal training business, and you're going to see that within 3 parts. And like, although Antle had worked in some very high profile positions, I mean, he was in Dr. Dolittle, Ace Ventura. He did he worked with Britney Spears. He did a lot, so he has like a huge notoriety in regards to his animal training and the different animals that he had possession of all over the world at that. But he was a scum. How he treated people, how he just his the pedophile predator mentality that he had was just horrific. And hearing the stories firsthand was just cringy at times. But yeah, the thing I liked about this is because the documentary kept it raw, kept it real. And although he appears in the documentary, because he is still out, but karma is catching up to him slowly but surely, in terms of animal cruelty, something I haven't said just yet. And he has a zoo in Myrtle Beach right now, the Myrtle Beach Safari, but things are, like I said, karma's catching up to him. I felt like this documentary kept it real. It kept it precise. I felt like, from each objective point, it just flowed really well. But the toning was totally different from what you expect from Tiger King. By no means there was no laughs. I laughed 0 times in this, but you learn so much information. You learn more about these folks within this community of folks, because there seems to be more and more who were big cat owners or big cat trainers or had their own zoo, or competitors to Joe Exotic, or friends, or once allies, or whatever it may be. You're learning more about this Tiger King universe, shall I say, of people. And we're just starting to see that there's just more and more corruption up and down the path. So, the documentary itself was good. It was an easy binge. I think the name itself, by it being titled as Tiger King, is instantly going to make you watch it, because you're going to think like, well, what's next happening with Tiger King? What's up with Joe Exotic? But it's not focusing on that. The first season was the introduction. The second season is about him trying to get out of jail and what's currently happening with him and some other players in the game, and kind of shifting the blame a little bit about other folks. But this is a 3-part about one particular person who is just a scum of the earth up and down the board. And regardless if you like what he does business wise, whether you're a fan of that and whatnot, what he's done to these women is just unexcusable. And hearing from the parents, hearing from the survivors themselves, this Doc Antle guy is bad. And I think this documentary is being used to provide more attention to the wrongdoings of this person, so that you shouldn't support him, and thus bring more attention to possibly open up more cases, and thus karma eventually biting him in the ass. So, but check it out. Give your thoughts about it when you're done. Again, this is Tiger King, the Doc Antle Story. It will be releasing on Netflix December 10th. Jump in the comments, let me know your thoughts about it when you do. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.